Hi everyone, this is Diane at the Picket Fence Greenhouse and Gardens. Today, as you can see in front of me, we're going to be putting together a terrarium. I've always been fascinated with terrariums and I just love the look of them. First time really of doing a terrarium. I'm going to have an enclosed jar, very nice container to use as a terrarium. Here, I'm just going to run down the things. Now I've done my research on this, and you know, there's different ways of putting terrariums together and different products people use. But this is what I'm going to be doing today, and I'm just going to run down everything that I'm going to be putting in this terrarium. Okay? We're going to be using some pea gravel, some sphagnum moss. I got some peat and perlite soil, and I'm going to mix some charcoal in to help on filtering and to keep the terrarium fresh. We have the baby's breath plant, Photonia, which is a very beautiful reddish color. I'm going to bring you in closer and let you look at these a little bit. Photonia, very beautiful red shaped plant. I think there's a couple in there. I'll be able to divide that. And then we got the lemon button fern. Okay, I got some few larger rocks I want to put in there, and just an accent fun frog I'm going to put in there. You can buy all kinds of different accent things to stick in your terrarium. Okay, so we're going to get started on this. The first layer is your drainage layer, which will be the pebbled rock. And I'm just going to, when you place your rock, you have to be kind of careful not to get your sides all wet. Okay, I'm going to be placing approximately an inch and a half to 2 inches on the bottom. I think an inch is probably good, but we're going to be putting that in first. And I washed my rock. I wanted it to look really nice, and it was a little dirty, but I'm going to do that first. I'm going to place that on the bottom. So you need a place for the water to go for drainage. Okay? Alright, I'm going to bring you in a little closer now to watch this. Okay, the main purpose is so you can see, you know, what we're doing here. And there's the Photonia, very beautiful plant. I'm going to move this stuff aside a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. And believe me, this is my first time. If you got anything better that you know of that will help me get this going, you know, let me know. But I'm going to put a little more rock in there. Okay, I hope you can see that okay. Right now what I'm doing is filling up with the pea gravel. Just dropping it in the bottom, spreading it out. This is going to be so pretty. Can't wait till it's done. Okay, once I get that done, then the next layer is going to be, now I've heard a few things that some people use just soil, some people put charcoal layers, some people mix the charcoal with the soil. I'm going to mix this charcoal with the soil. First thing we're going to do though is we want something to put over the rocks so the soil don't fall through it. And I've seen where people were using fabric, and I'm going to be using some sphagnum moss is what I want to use. Moss looks so pretty in terrariums. And that's what this looks like. You know what the moss looks like. I'm going to try to get that to fit in there kind of nice around there. So basically what this is for is to make it so the soil does not fall down onto the rock. Okay, and this you can see the different layers. I'm going to have to cut this off a little bit. Pull it off. Actually, these pull apart really well. But I'm just going to make a nice little layer here. Cover up the rock. And once we get this done, I'll show you the finished product. It might be just a little bit hard to see here. But this was kind of my idea. I'm going to see how this works. Because you are supposed to lay something right there onto the rock. Okay, if you can see that okay. As you can see, it's starting to come together already. It's really going to be cool. The next thing will be, I'm going to be actually putting a little bit of dried charcoal on the sphagnum, on the moss. I'm going to be just sprinkling a little bit on the top of the moss. And you know, this is really, some people don't even use charcoal, so this is kind of just a personal preference type thing. And then what I'm going to do is cover that with soil. Okay. Okay, it's enough. I just added a little bit. It's just mainly to keep it fresh. And it's just a filtering system. So, all right. The next step is I moistened some soil. This is just a regular peat and vermiculite soil. I moistened it already. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some charcoal. I'm going to be adding some charcoal to my mix here and mixing it up. Okay, I mixed up some soil. This is kind of moistened soil with the charcoal in it already. And I can see the charcoal bits, so that should be sufficient. Okay, so I got the soil mixed up. So now we're just going to set some soil. And be very careful when you do this. Just drop it down. It doesn't need to be probably around an inch or so deep, because you're going to be putting in more soil as you put your plants in. Okay, and that'll be filling that up. Okay, you can see how that's going there, how the layers are. I'll put just a little bit more in. Alright, so now it's plant time. Alright, I'm excited. So we're going to do the lemon button fern. I've grown these. These make great house plants if kept moist. And I've kept them indoors because they don't do good here in the winter. But these guys are a fantastic plant. And you know, when you choose your plants, it's something we need to go over. You need to choose plants for this type of terrarium that are moisture loving, that like to be humid, that like that like the same light requirements. So make sure that when you're choosing your plants that they are relatively the same. Okay, but we'll put the lemon button fern. Now he's a little bigger. I'm going to set him toward the, I'm going to say kind of toward the back that I feel is going to be the back. I'm going to set it down just a little bit. Okay. You see that one okay? Yeah. So there's going to be a lid on this, so and if I need to trim these off, I can do that. The next will be the Fritonia. This is a really beautiful, beautiful reddish vein plant. And as I can see, there's three plants in here. Great. So I'm going to pull this apart. Now I'm just going to be putting one in. And what's great about this is they're going to be easy to make new ones too. I'm kind of going to lay it down. It's nice to have some different heights. And then what I'll do with this one here is just put it back in the pot and repot it later. And the last plant will be, this one here can be made into several. So I'm going to be pulling it apart. Okay. And this is actually the first time I've had this plant. So I'm very pleased with getting it. I'm going to take and pull it apart, get me a section off of here, and so I can plant. Just pull it apart very carefully. And that's a nice size because these are going to be growing inside the terrarium. Okay, I love that. Look at that, guys. What do you think? It's coming together?